Let's cover the 10 reasons why you might be exhausted. And I have a lot of personal experience with being exhausted a good portion of my life, and I had no idea back then, but I'm going to share some of my experiences with you in this video. The first and most important thing to do when you have exhaustion is just to, kind of go back in your mind and isolate when it started, and then take a look at what happened just before that to get a clue. Was it diet related? Was it stress related? Was there some medication you got on? And then you'll know. Okay, the real simple thing that very few people do actually. But let's take it from the top. Number one, medications have side effects. There are so many people out there right now on medications that are tired, that are not connecting the dots. In fact, I don't even know of one medication that doesn't give you fatigue or lethargy or some type of lowered energy as a side effect. Okay, they all cause you to be tired because they inhibit or stimulate neurotransmitters, which are kind of like hormone little communications in your nervous system. So especially if you're on antidepressants or anti-anxiety medication or high blood pressure medication, those definitely will make you tired. So find another solution. Now, I'm not telling you to come off your medication, but get with your doctor and see if you can do something more natural. Because if you're trying to fix one problem and it gives you another problem, it's not worth it. So number two, fuel. The fuel that you're running your body on is the wrong fuel. You're running your body on sugar. This applies to those that are new to my channel. If you're not new, you already know this, but burning fat fuel gives you a lot of energy. Burning sugar fuel will make you roller coaster with your energy. And that was me in my 20s. I was so exhausted. I had no connection. It was related to my diet. As I was eating cereal and muffins and orange juice in the morning, avoiding the saturated fat, pure carbs, and I had no connection. In fact, my wife and I would be driving the street and we'd see a health food store. Honey, let's go in there and take some vitamins, and come out with all these vitamins in hopes of raising or boosting my energy. Well, that never worked until I finally stumbled across a book called it's called Mastering the Zone, and in the first chapter it was talking about insulin and carbohydrates, and I'm like, why did I miss this in college? And I started to consume more protein, eggs, and I cut down the carbs. And oh my gosh, did my energy come back fast? And then I got really interested in the subject and doing massive deep dive in research, and here I am. Okay, and if you want that information of what to eat, I put the link down below. Number three, poor sleep. That's a big one. If you are not sleeping through the night, if you are not feeling rejuvenated when you get up, then it could be your stress level. It could be something you're missing. There's a lot of reasons. I have probably at least 50 videos on sleep. I'll put one of the best ones down below. But if you're low in vitamin D and low in zinc, that right there will keep you from sleeping. And one little quick tip, if you take vitamin D3 and zinc right before bed, you may find that you sleep a lot better right off the bat. Of course, you want to change your diet as well. All right, number four, hidden infection. This happened with me. In high school, I had mono, okay? That's Epstein-Barr virus. And so I had this infection, and it was really bad. My tonsils were completely swollen. And then later in life, when I went through a lot of stress, I had chronic fatigue syndrome and fibromyalgia. That was that Epstein-Barr virus sitting in the background being reactivated, okay? Being reactivated by a stress state. So these viruses tend to go dormant and then come out later in life, not as a full-blown infection, but as fatigue or achy joints or flu-like symptoms. What happened with me is I really dealt with a major stress in my life at that time, and ridding the stress caused that virus to go back on remission, because stress activates cortisol. Cortisol paralyzes your immune cells, your white blood cells. So cortisol will just shut down your immune system. The pathogens come out and create a lot of problems. So you have to handle this thing right here to handle this. Another time in my life, I got Lyme's. I remember getting really tired just out of the blue for no reason. I'm like, why am I so exhausted? And then I looked in the mirror on my back and there's this bullseye rash. I'm like, oh, okay. So I started to take the antibiotic and boy, I did not feel good on that. It felt like my body was like the inside was a wash machine. It's like something is just not good. So I stopped that and I started taking a series of herbal things, and I'll put the link down below of what I took. And that took care of those symptoms, and I got my energy back. And to this day, I never had a problem with that. Okay, number 5, post-COVID fatigue. A lot of people are complaining about this. I did a video on it. What you need is a lot of vitamin B1 because this infection depletes your B1. And one of the big side effects is a lack of energy because your little energy factories, your mitochondria, need B1 to create energy. So you need a lot of B1. I wouldn't take the synthetic version. I would take a natural version, and you will find that your energy goes up. People that had gastric bypass surgery, they're usually low in B1 and they get fatigue. People that drink a lot of coffee and tea through the day are B1 deficient, and then that can cause fatigue and then the need for more caffeine. All right, number 6, if you try the ketogenic diet and you get keto fatigue, that's merely that you're missing either electrolytes, specifically potassium, or B vitamins. The best source of B vitamins is nutritional yeast, unfortified. And of course, the best electrolytes are, of course, my own brand. And of course, I'm not biased. But here's the thing. With potassium, every single cell has this these little pumps. They're called sodium potassium pumps, okay? And what they do is they generate energy for the nervous system and the muscular system. And so you need a lot of potassium to run that system, because if you're deficient, and especially if you add keto on top of it, the demand for these nutrients does go up, which I'm not going to get into the why, but just add these 2 things in here and your fatigue will go away. All right, number 7, you could have anemia, and take a wild guess what food has really good amounts of B12 and iron. Red meat. That's right, red meat. So taking these 2 vitamins doesn't always work, just simply because they might not be bioavailable, right? So if you switched over to a plant-based diet or a vegan diet and you start getting anemia, maybe that wasn't the best solution in the world. But so many people have this subclinical anemia. The other reason for anemia is that maybe you are getting these 2 nutrients, but the stomach acid is not strong enough. And so what you need is betaine hydrochloride, okay? Simple remedy, you take 5 betaine hydrochloride before you eat, and you start acidifying the stomach. Now, how do you know if you need more stomach acid? A really good clue would be indigestion, acid reflux, that's right. And if you have those 2 symptoms or bloating, just try some betaine hydrochloride and those symptoms will go away. Because you might think that, wow, I need to suppress the acid, right? No, you need to increase the acid. So if you are on or were on an acid, okay, that could be causing you anemia because it depletes the acid in your stomach. So that's another mechanism of why people are tired. Number 8, low thyroid can definitely make you tired. It could mean that you just need a little bit of iodine or selenium, but most hypothyroid situations are autoimmune. That's number 10, where you have a lot of inflammation, and that can be causing the fatigue. The remedy for a Hashimoto's type thyroid problem and all other autoimmune diseases have to do with taking more vitamin D3, and you want to take no less than about 30,000 IUs per day, okay? That is going to help reduce the inflammation and increase your energy. I want to mention number 9, mycoplasmas. What is that? That is some stealth microbe that is very small bacteria that can hide in little calcium igloos. They're called biofilms. This can occur, for example, I know like in the Gulf War syndrome, this is really underneath that. And so if you have these hidden infections, like oregano oil works good, any of the natural herbs like garlic, thyme, sage, and there's a whole list of them you can do as a natural way of suppressing this, as well as dealing with the stress here, because these guys can kind of come out when your cortisol is too high. All right. I gave you a lot of information. I hope I didn't overwhelm you, but I think the most important thing to do now would be to implement a basic eating plan that's correct. And that's why I put this video up right here. Check it out.